Another thing that Generative Fill can do is a pretty good job of making reflections. So you might want to think about adding bodies of water or just making some areas wet or doing different things. Let me show you how it works. So I'm going to grab me marquee tool, the lasso tool, and I'm going to make a selection around the front here. So why don't we go there? And then what we're going to do is click on Generative Fill, and we're just going to put in puddle. And then generate. And notice that it generates a pretty cool puddle. Now, one of the things when you are creating a reflection, in Photoshop, a lot of us would just kind of flip something and create a reflection. It was a good way to cheat. But in reality, you're going to see a different angle. If you look at this, this is looking from underneath. So the reflection would actually be showing the underside of an object, not the top. So this is actually a more realistic reflection. And let's have a look at the second option. We've got a little bit of a ripple going in there. And then there's our third option. So we've got these different kind of puddles that we can create. Now we can also create a larger body of water. Now just bear in mind when you are creating a large body of water, the scale. So I'm going to create a lake. I don't want to make a little selection and then call it a lake. What I want to do is make a big selection over a larger area. And this would make sense now to turn this into a lake. And we'll just type in lake. And let's have a look at the other options, the other variations that we're getting out of this. Second and third variations. Okay, those were not really working very well. And if I look in here, they're just not really working. So in a situation like this, what do you do when, it just doesn't work? You could hit generate again. But here's one of the things I've learned. Let me just ditch that. No pun intended. But when you create something and it just doesn't work, sometimes it's a better idea. It could be just the selection that's a problem. So we're just going to go here and create a new selection. And if you look at the lesson that I did on creating objects, you'll see how important the shape is. So in this case, rather than fighting it, if it fails, create a new selection. Then we're going to hit Generative Fill. And we're going to hit Generate, and we're going to create a lake. And there we go. We get something that looks like a lake there. Or there's a second option. Or a third option that is more man-made. I think I like that particular option there. And, if we look at that, that looks pretty good, pretty realistic. So just bear that in mind that, if it's not working, just create it, just throw away the layer and create a new selection, a different selection. And that will get you further than just, regenerating and hoping it's going to hit. All right, let's look at this example. And this is a completely different example. And one of the things, if you notice, this is a very shallow depth of field. The cyclist and this carriage are in focus because they're on the same focal plane, but everything behind them, in front, off to the side, all of that is out of focus. So one of the things that's nice is this also respects the depth of field. In fact, why don't we make a selection around here? And what we're going to do is we're going to let it create a wet ground. So we're going to choose the Generative Fill. Now you could do wet ground, you could do wet road, you could try wet cobblestones. There's a lot of different words that you could put in there. I'm just going to do wet ground and hit generate. All right. And now we get something that looks a little bit more like a puddle. Let's select this other option or the third option. Okay. I kind of like that one. So it kind of looks like we've got a little bit of a puddle there, that the ground it's not a lake. It's not a huge body of water. It's just got a little water there in the on the cobblestones on the ground, and you can see the reflections, how good they are. But not only that, notice in this area here where everything is sharp and in focus because this is where the focal plane is, and then as it comes forward, notice that it gets more out of focus. See the edges there are soft and blurry. So it's actually respecting the lighting, it's respecting the depth of field, and obviously it's also respecting the reflections. And I think that is pretty cool.